What if I told you you're not your name? You're not your job title. I mean, you're not even mum or daughter or partner. Those are labels. And labels, they're just clothes you wear. But what happens when you take them off? Think about it. The minute we arrive, people start naming us on paper and in your own head. You're the responsible one, the creative one, the quiet one. And somewhere along the way, we become that. We stop questioning it. But what happens when life strips one of those labels away? You lose the job. The relationship ends. The kids leave home. And suddenly you're standing there going, "Ooh, who am I now?" But that feeling is not a crisis. It's actually an invitation. I've been there, and seriously, losing a label, as scary as it seems, was the first time I actually ever asked that question seriously. Not what do I do now, or who do I belong to, but who am I? Just me, underneath all of it. The labels aren't the problem. I mean, we need them to function. But when we fuse with them, when we can't separate ourselves from them, that's when we suffer. So the question isn't which label is right for me, it's can you find yourself without any? Neuroscience shows we have a default self. Your brain actually has this part that constantly tells you who you are. There's this thing in your brain, scientists call it the default mode network. And it's basically just making stuff up about you. It's not telling you the truth. It's telling you a story. And here's the thing. Most of us have never even questioned it. And this is the bit that gets me every time. Most of what we call me was handed to us before we were even 7. 7. We weren't even fully formed yet. Other people's voices, other people's fears, other people's beliefs just downloaded into us. It starts young, really young. I remember this one moment in school that just sealed it for me. For as long as I can remember, probably from around the age of 4, I had this really bad stammer. And I grew up in a big family. I had 5 other siblings. Now, because of this speech impediment, I was ridiculed from the word go. I mean, I would be called stupid, idiot, dunce. And to be fair, we all called each other names, but that's what I was programmed to believe. But there was this one time in secondary school, and I was in the lowest classes in most of my subjects. But my math teacher, she saw something in me and she decided to move me up a class. So the class was a lot larger. There was about 30 pupils within the class. And I never forget, on my first day, the teacher was picking pupils randomly to stand up and answer math questions. I was absolutely petrified. And I remember sitting there thinking, don't ask me, don't ask me, don't ask me. But she did. She picked me and asked me the question and asked me to stand up. And as I tried to answer the question, there was just this stammering noise coming out of my mouth. And the minute that happened, the whole class just roared out laughing. And the more I tried to force these words out of my throat, the more the class laughed. And, oh, I never forget it. And eventually the teacher said, just sit back down, Sally, sit down. And so I sat down, and I remember I could feel the heat coming off me. I felt so small, and I just wanted to crawl back into that nice small little classroom where I felt really safe. And on that day I was sent back to the lower class, and believe me, I didn't mind at all, because it was my safe space, you know. It was my comfort zone. And oh, it was a desperate situation. I never forget it. It was really horrifying, and it stayed with me forever. At the time, I believed I was stupid. That's what I was programmed to believe, like I said. You know, the identity I began living from those early years. But that identity, it wasn't mine. It was others. So, whose identity are you living? Yours or others? For me, seeing past the labels was the moment I realised that the life I'd been living wasn't mine. And from that speck, I began a real journey. A journey into self-awareness, into understanding who I really was beneath all of it. And what I discovered was this: you are not stuck. You can choose differently. But it starts with one thing: awareness. Awareness of who you are not. So that you can finally start becoming who you actually are. But here's something I want you to sit with. Beneath all the labels, beneath the story your brain has been telling you, beneath almost everything that was handed to you before you were even 7 years old, there's something that's been there the whole time, watching, noticing, experiencing. It didn't need a label. It didn't need a job title or a role or someone else's opinion of how you should exist. It was just there, quietly, the whole time. That's not your conditioning. That's not the storyteller. That is you, the real you. And that is where everything changes. That is the starting point of the inner rewrite. If today something stirred in you, come and join us in the inner rewrite. It's a free online community over on School, and you'll get instant access to the Intended Way pocket guide when you arrive. The link's in the description below, and see you in the next one.